With the huge amount of anime released every year, heck, every season, there is no time to watch all of them and enjoy what they offer. As a consequence, a lot of anime series that are phenomenal and offer something new to the table get overlooked and left out. That is why for today we'll be talking about the top 10 greatest anime you haven't seen. But before we start, be sure to hit that subscribe button and press that bell icon. It set us all to be notified about all our latest new videos. And a little warning beforehand, but spoilers ahead. Starting off with a shonen anime that got overlooked due to other more popular shows releasing at the same time and stealing the spotlight from it is Radiant. I swear, freaking shonen just can't stop breaking their own world's rules. In this world, there are humans and magicians that use their powers to battle monstrous creatures with unknown origins. However, those mages, even though they save people, are persecuted and hunted down like criminals, since mages and those beasts share the same source of magic and treated as monsters as well. The rule this shonen broke was the fact that all mages need a featured item of their own to channel their magic through and use their powers. However, this main character does not. This main character usually wears gloves on his hands and uses his spells, which leads others to the conclusion that the gloves are what he channels through his powers, through when in reality they are actually inhibitors, holding in his immense power that he can't seem to control for a majority of the show. The series is lighthearted and fun just like any typical shonen out there, but what makes this series unique is how creative the magical powers are. Up next we have Gargantia and the Verdurous Planet. This is quite the complicated show, actually. To say the least, it deserves its own video explaining it in further detail. However, in this video our time is limited and we are unable to go into further detail. So, long story short, humanity fucked up and transformed Earth into an icy, desolate land. Left it, seeking refuge into the stars and other galaxies living in space. Things were fine for a while until humanity out of the blue came under attack by squid-like enemies that were clearly out for blood. Yeah. Humanity launched a defensive along with our main character piloting his mech, and as an outcome of the battle, he was lost in space and ended up back on Earth, the origin of life. However, this time, Earth is covered in water, and people live and survive there on ships, like the Gargantia. Without spending more into details, the squids on the Earth called whale squids are discovered to relate to the space squids as well. More than that, these squids were once human. Dun dun dun! And upon discovering that, of course, the main character that was full of bloodlust to kill all these things started having doubts about the whole thing for once in his life. And as they say, the rest is history. Sadly, the show didn't get that many views, and it actually deserves more. It dives into a lot of existential and moral dilemmas that we appreciate in anime. And one show that isn't what it seems at all is Scrapped Princess. I bet you guys never heard of this show before. It was most likely released before you were even born. And the second part is because it just never got that recognition that it deserved. You see, at a first glance, this show might seem just like any other weird prophecy surrounding the end of the world at the hands of this one girl, aka the Scrapped Princess Pacifica. The setting seems to be medieval and has a lot of fantasy elements, and one thing we don't realize, however, until watching the show, is the fact that this world they are now living on is a post-apocalyptic world with some structures from the old civilization still enduring to this day. And believe it or not, this is a sci-fi genre show with aliens involved. If you are looking for a show that introduces its cast and setting slowly and takes time on the journey, then this anime is yours. You have to watch it. And up next we have Noain, To Your Other Self. This anime is one of those shows that were either too obscure to get any recognition or just too complicated for some to understand it. Now, you might be wondering what is complicated about such a straightforward series, and the Dragon Knights just need to find the Dragon Torque, kill it, and their world will be much better, right? Well, yes, and technically no. It is sorta more complicated than that. So we start off with our two main protagonists, Karasu, the Dragon Knight from the dimension of La Crema, fighting a losing war against the leader of the Shangri-La dimension, Noin, and you, the childhood friend of Haruka, in her own time-space. Want to know what is common between those three? Well, spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. They are the same person! Crazy, right? The one behind all the destruction throughout the dimensional war is none other than Karasu, and in essence, just another version of you that chose a darker path that led him down into the depths of despair, misery, and villainy. I bet I already confused you guys with the reveal, so that's why I'm just gonna lick the show, give you the rest of the deets. Why Haruka? How does she have those powers, and what are her powers exactly? For those that enjoy dimensional travel and infinite possibilities across dimensions, this anime is definitely for you. Up next, we have the Beast player, Eren. What better anime to mention on this list than the coming of age in a world torn by war and politics, the Beast player, Eren. For those who do not know, this show has 50 episodes to it, and each and every episode is a delight to watch for those who are looking for a chill anime to just rest, take a seat, and enjoy during the evening. I recommend you watch this show slowly, for example, 3 episodes a night, and really take in the abundance of information and rich world building it offers. The main protagonist of the story is the 10-year-old Eren growing up with her mother, the best Toyota tamer in their village. Toyota, by the way, are lizard-like beasts meant to be trained and raised for wars. Just by seeing the Toyota, you can immediately get a grasp of the situation in this world, and that the peace in the first few episodes isn't going to be a lasting one. Eren grows nonetheless and creates an unbreakable bond between her and a Beast Lord. Beast Lords are wolf-headed chimeras that are very powerful and considered beasts fit for royalty, only not for war. The balance of power in this world is as fragile as a glass cup that could break any moment and plunge the world in war and chaos. However, that's where the greatness of this anime comes, how the small little girl from a village that raised Toyotas was able to bring the war-torn era to an end. And here we have a classic, Romeo x Juliet. Romeo, oh Romeo, where art thou? This eternal love story is one of the most beautiful, charming, and tragic love stories to ever be made. And over the years, a lot of directors created countless works of art revolving around this said love story. And this is just one of those stories waiting yet to be told. In a tale of succession and usurping, the two lovers find themselves on different sides, sworn enemies of each other, fighting for different reasons. They kill their family and usurps her rightful throne. However, thanks to localist efforts, she was saved and hid for years. Juliet gave up the throne and her vendetta, but remained as a thorn in the backside of her enemies, working as the vigilante known as Red Whirlwind. Enter Romeo, the son of the family that destroyed hers and usurped her throne. However, opposed to his tyrannical father, Romeo is as selfless as they come. Things are about to get heated up between these two. Watch and find out what happens. And also, nothing better than an end-of-the-world dystopian society anime to spend the night, am I right? Or am I right? There is always some kind of charm when watching humanity go down the path of self-destruction. A path I can argue that we are now on currently. But I digress. Here we have Textualize, in an anime that tells the story of the underground city Lux, a city filled with remnants of humanity. Thugs, lowlifes, you name it. It has it. This anime, however, is a special kind of anime. Nothing in that series is a small detail, and every single word uttered by its characters hints at something greater and foreshadows later events in the story. This series is one of my favorites. Though it is somewhat nihilistic, I actually enjoy the way the anime was made, in a sense that the city Lux itself is the one telling its story through the multiple main characters in the series, each from their own perspective and their own premise, all the way until the very end of the series, where everything is revealed and all the characters in the story meet the end they sought, or the end that was written for them. This show has a very philosophical and existential side to it, and for those that enjoy such series, I recommend you watch it. And up next, we have House of Five Leaves. What if there was an anime that was about a samurai? This anime wasn't about the strongest samurai, or the path to the glory, or even a demon sword, but instead it was about meek-looking samurai with slightly above average skills. He wasn't looking to fight the strongest fight, or defeat the overlord and free his people, but maybe he was just looking to make a living and help his little sister back at home. That would be, if not anything, interesting. That's exactly what Saraya Goyu, House of the Five Leaves, is about. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm honestly fed up to here with all these overpowered samurai one-shotting enemies left and right, being the talk of the town. Finding this anime was the break I needed from all that overpowered nonsense. It was just a breath of fresh air, and honestly, I enjoyed it a lot. This anime, as mentioned earlier, isn't your typical samurai story anime, and it isn't for those who live to see explosions and special effects, and isn't even for people who want to see some fight scenes. There's only about 2 or 3 in the entire series, and for an anime that has its main protagonist as a bodyguard, that's pretty strange. This anime, however, is just that. It is all about the story rather than the battles and the fights. Something I believe we need quite more of in upcoming works. And up next we have Colorful, the movie. Now, Colorful is a 2-hour slow-paced, at least at first, anime movie that tackles a lot of issues we as teens went through and still go through from our day-to-day lives. Life can be merciless, and especially unforgiving to some, even to the point of dragging them down to a much darker outcome, which is sadly ending their own lives. This series starts off with an impure soul being chosen to get a second chance at living by an angel called Pura Pura. However, there is a catch. The body this soul will inhabit is the body of a 14-year-old boy that had just committed suicide, overdosing on pills. And in order to keep that body and remain in life, this soul had to discover the greatest sin of that kid in less than 6 months, or else it will be taken back and will lose its second chance at life. As to be expected from the life of someone that committed suicide, he didn't have the smoothest of lives. Bullied at school by his classmates, not being on good terms with his family, especially his mother, and his friends distancing from him after he committed suicide and came back, partly because they had no clue how to deal with such a delicate situation. To them, it was like defusing a time bomb. One mistake, and it would blow up right in their faces. The anime faces a lot of facets of life and tackles a lot of its issues, being a deeply grounded work. If you exclude the existence of that angel at first, the movie is worth the watch and teaches us a lot about the way we are viewing life as a whole, giving some a new perspective to their existence. This is a movie I recommend to all of you, and it is a shame that not many know about its existence. And ending this video on a high note is the only way I know, and that is why I left this special anime for last. In the top spot of today's list, we have Planets. We have always seen space as something magnificent. In the final frontier, the unexplored territory, I still remember when we learned of the first man to ever walk in space and the first man to ever step on the moon. Just how excited we were in class, and that excitement, that just how impossible it felt to us to achieve such a human feat. And this anime, it just takes all that excitement and puts it in the trash can. Because, well, spacewalking, flying to space, and all that stuff is just another Tuesday in this anime. The series isn't about how exciting space is, on the contrary, it just turns space into a mundane thing as our cast works their asses off cleaning the debris in space that is jeopardizing space travel. They're literally working in space like as if they are riding a bike. Being out there doesn't mean anything to them. And the excitement I had at first as a new worker in the station soon was demolished and turned into ash after her first mission. Her very first mission was to destroy a monument meant for a peace treaty that was going to collide with a space carrier. Destroying such a symbol of peace was too hard for her to accept, but she did, nonetheless, understanding that it was actually a meaningless thing that held no value. And the show is filled with numerous themes, comedy, things that would happen at work on a daily basis, and more importantly, the expectation versus reality dilemma. That is why this series is a must-watch and deserves more recognition. Now, I had a lot of good watches on this list, but let me know in the comments down below if you have any other watches that you think deserve to be on this list. After all, at this point in our age, there's just so much content, so many shows that just get swept under the radar. And if you like today's video, go ahead and give this one a like, and press on that subscribe button while you're at it, and set us all to be notified about all our latest new videos. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.